get it all rolling with how did you get involved with sports in general, with football?
Yeah, so I grew up in Hollywood, Florida, and down here is like a melting pot when it comes to sports and especially football. So a lot of my older cousins, play football, and you have like those sleepovers, and it's so many kids, so we have to bring the mattress into the living room floor, and that became the football field. And the older cousins are punishing the little cousins by making them run and jump over the top like Walter Payton, and everybody just kind of pounding you, and hopefully you land on the actual mattress versus the floor, because the mattress is a little more forgiving. So that's
Definitely,
how my
man.
introduction started to it, just kind of playing around with the cousins and things like that. And then, when I became of age to be able to actually play on the team, the local team, then I just kind of started at that point.
Definitely, man. Hey, you're killing the beard game, man.
Yeah, man, doing like COVID and all those things, I didn't have many places to go or anything like that. So it was like, what's the point in getting a haircut and, getting the shape up if you're just going to be in the house? And next thing you know, it started to grow, and I just can't seem to make it to a barber to cut it down,
Hey,
so
it
here we
looks
are.
good, man. It looks good. It
Thank
looks
you.
better than mine.
Yeah, you just gotta just let it go. Don't touch it, don't trim it, don't do nothing to it. And that's the key.
I hear you, man. So besides Walter Payton, the running back from the Bears, who else were your sports role models, man?
So let's go with like Michael Irvin. He was a huge influence. My mom, she grew up in the same like neighborhood as Michael Irvin, so I always kind of knew about him growing up. And then Deion Sanders was a huge inspiration. I love the way that he was high stepping, putting the hand behind the head, doing the whole dance and stuff. So it was guys like that when it came to football. And then of course I also played basketball. So you had the Michael Jordans and the Shaqs and the Penny Hardaways. It was a lot of had a lot of guys to kind of look up to back then.
Definitely, man. So scrolling it forward for you, the college transition, how hard was the choice to pick a university, and what went into your choice to pick one?
Yeah. So um, let's take it back, right? So growing up in Hollywood, the area is kind of filled with a lot of crime, a lot of drug dealers, a lot of things like that. And as a younger kid, I was really good in sports. So I was like 12 years old, being able to play basketball with like the 18s and the 20-year-old guys. And I would remember often when guys are just like reminiscing or reflecting on past experiences, they will always say, man, if I didn't do this, I could have been this, right? So growing up, making it to the NFL wasn't necessarily a dream of mine, but what I wanted to do was kind of complete the process. So I knew guys that didn't finish middle school, I knew guys that didn't finish high school, so forth, right? So I didn't want to become one of the older guys in the neighborhood playing basketball with the younger guys and telling them that story of, man, if only I would have did this, this could have happened. So my thing from the beginning was always just complete middle school, and then we get to high school, do whatever you got to do, complete it, and see what's next. So I actually didn't even start thinking about attending any university until I was like a junior in high school. My high school coach was like, man, Travis, man, telling you, I know you're like hanging out with your boys in the neighborhood, things like that, but you can do something with this if you pursue it, right? So, after hearing him say that, I always was like a thinker, and I was like, you know what? Let me start thinking about that part, right? So I was getting scholarship offers, dual sport, basketball scholarships, football scholarships, and a lot of people, when I chose to go play, to sign to go to football, my high school basketball coach told me that was the worst decision I could have ever made in my life, because you're like, you're a basketball player, like you're not a football player, you know? But when I started to think, it was like, okay, the NBA, if you're going to have opportunity, right? Because you always just want to know that it is there, but you don't have to put so much focus on it. But it is something that may happen. When you think about it, they only going to draft like 58 people. NFL drafting like 200. I'm like, I might as well roll with the numbers, you know? when it came time for college, I didn't want to be in Florida. That's one thing that I was adamant about, that I wasn't going to go to school in Florida because I wanted to see what it was like to like kind of grow up on my own, not be able just to run back. If I go to the University of Miami, 45 minutes, I'm back in my neighborhood, So if anything happened, I'll just be too inclined to come home or have people come down there. I started to also think that, like, what if I were to not make it to the NFL and I was to get a job offer in New York City and Arkansas or something like that? If I only stay in Florida, I wouldn't know how I would adjust to being away. So I was like, you know what? Let's look at schools that's far away and see how it is to live apart from everyone. So my top 5 schools became Wisconsin, Iowa, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, LSU. So I didn't even care nothing about the program, football. Like, I didn't really care about it. It was just, how far away can I get, and after taking like some of the visits, then I started thinking to myself, well, if my mom and them are going to want to come to a game, then out of all of the schools, LSU is the closest to everybody. So that's how I landed in Baton Rouge. Now, Coach Saban, Coach Jimbo Fisher, they were like really instrumental in recruiting it and did a great job and things like that. So I did feel comfortable with them, but also it was closer than any of the other schools.
For sure. And Nick Saban with the Dolphins, man, gave you that opportunity, man.
Yeah. That was amazing, because to get drafted to the NFL is a huge deal. And not many people can say they've been drafted by the college head coach. I actually don't even know
you're
any.
You're the first
might be one of the first ones, right?
You're the first one I've interviewed.
I never even thought about it. I never even thought about that till we're talking right now. But it was amazing to be able to transition into the NFL under Nick Saban because it's a huge transition overall. A lot of guys are going into a new playbook, a new city, this and that. I came back home, like I grew up like 15 minutes away from where the Dolphins practice at, and not only that, I don't have to worry about trying to figure out what this playbook is, nothing, because I know everything what everybody doing,
Definitely.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So that was a huge help. That was a huge help, in my transition phase. But also, it also brought a lot of difficulties too. When you get drafted to the city that you're from, now all of the things that you hear about, people need this, I want tickets, money, every situation. Now that people are like really close to you, you're not long distance anymore where you can walk around and you're not going to see those people. Like, you're seeing them on a daily basis, so it has a lot of high points, but there's also some that you wish didn't exist.
Definitely. So you brought up the question, man. This is off the cuff here. Nick Saban with the LSU Tigers to the Dolphins. Did you see any similarities? What were the similarities between his college days, since you had a little taste of that, then the NFL? Was there any similarities?
Yeah, so for the most part, Coach Saban is going to be Coach Saban. It doesn't matter where he is, if it's NFL, if it's college, it doesn't matter which college he is. The way he go about business and the way that he approached the game, approached practice, discipline, things like that don't change. So everything was exactly the same. He didn't treat Zach Thomas like he's Zach Thomas or Jason Taylor like he's Jason Taylor. He treated him like, you're Jason. That's it. I expect and demand this out of you. If you don't like it, you're going to have to figure something else out, and that's one thing that you could definitely respect about a coach is that, you're going to have some situations where you may give somebody a little bit more leniency than the other. But for the most part, he's going to coach everybody the same. He's going to expect the same thing out of you, and, you gotta, respect that.
Definitely. So Travis, which team did you feel most comfortable with during your NFL journey?
Yeah, so Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City was an amazing experience. It really brought back that Baton Rouge atmosphere, right? When you hear it in Miami playing with the Dolphins, it's an amazing organization, historically, things like that. But the difference between here and Baton Rouge, right, is in Miami. Not only do you have the Dolphins, you have the Marlins, you have the Heat, we have a hockey team, and we have soccer, right? So there are a lot of different interests. So having those diehard fans in that stadium is just packed full with nothing but supporters of like your team. It's really hard to have that happen. Sometimes we would play the Patriots or the Jets, and they have more fans than us, right? Which was weird to me because being in Baton Rouge, you never going to enter Death Valley and the opposing team have more supporters than you have in your own place. When I got to Kansas City, they don't have a basketball team or all these other teams. They only basically, they have soccer now, but they only have baseball, you know? So the whole community was all about like the Chiefs. And you can see it from the tailgating to when you walk out there in that sea of red and the fans are going crazy. And, you know, regardless win, lose, or draw, like those fans are cheering for you. So I really enjoyed my time in Kansas City because it really reminded me of that feeling that I had when I was in Baton Rouge.
For sure. So, life after football for you, Travis, how have you applied the trials and tribulations of the game of football to your personal life?
Yeah, so football is, I feel like one of the best things that could ever happen to me, especially going to LSU and having Coach Saban, Coach Jimbo Fisher, Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart. I mean, the list goes on. You know, having those guys to be able to pour into us, right? Because life, no matter what you do, it is exactly how football is, right? You have to know how to be a team player. You have to be able to be a leader of men. You have to know how to adjust on the fly, you know? And you're always going to be put in those situations when you're not playing football anymore. Any workforce, anything that you want to do in life, you're going to have those intangible things that are going to come up. So when I started my photography journey, when I was with the Chiefs, at first the pictures didn't look good. And, you know, I knew that it wasn't going to be an easy thing because it was something new to me. And I just had to continuously put the work in, have that tunnel vision, and stay focused, you know, to get it to the point of where it is right now. Same thing is, like, let's say today was the first day of summer workouts. We know we have a conditioning test at the end of it, but today nobody will pass it, right? You're going to have to go through day by day that sweat and cramps and throwing up and all of those things to get to the point when it's time to do the conditioning test, it's going to be flawless, right? So that's how life is. That's how any career path is. At first, you personally couldn't get me or anybody else to, right? You had to put that groundwork in, prove the model, keep going, stay focused, review a lot of interviews, see what other people doing, how they set up, you know,
For sure.
and it kind of catapults you to the next level. So I definitely appreciate everything that football has taught me because without football, I don't feel like I would have this structure.
Definitely, man. So my next two questions, Travis, are brought to you by B&D Sports Media. How can your Chiefs remain at the top of the AFC with limited cap space for 2022?
Yeah, so I think that we have a really good core group of guys. We're going to have like some moving parts, right? Because no team is ever going to be the same year after year. But, you know, with the tutelage of, you know, Andy Reid and everybody just trying to keep as many people close together, I think that they have what it takes to continuously move forward. I mean, they were just a smidget off making it to the Super Bowl this time, you know, and that would have been what, like 3 straight or something like that, right? So
sure.
I think that regardless with the cap space, Patrick Mahomes and, you know, you keep those core guys together, everybody stay healthy, and they'll get back to it. You know, it was just a little hiccup in there. So I'm not worried about it much. I know that the guys are going to be working hard this summer. You know, they're going to get closer, you know, because adversity always bring the best out of everyone, and especially the kind of guys that they already have on the team. the new guys that's going to come to it are going to be guys that they know going to buy into the system. That's why they are in this position to come be a part of this team. So I'm looking forward to big things for the guys. I'm rooting for them, and hope to see them in Vegas next year.
Definitely. Hey, their whole offensive line is free agents, though, man.
Yeah,
that's killer.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to retain everybody no matter what, right? Some people it's gonna have to be a change. But the one thing about it is there are a lot of talented guys out there that can get the job done. So it's just gonna take the scouts and everybody to locate them, to bring them over and be able to meet the quota of the actual caps situation.
Definitely, man. So how can a 2021 rookie quarterback make the leap in year 2? Which one will take the leap next year? From Lawrence to Mac Jones to the guy from the Jets, Zach Wilson. Mm-hmm. Then you got Trey Lance. Or Justin Fields too.
Yes.
Which one do you have, man? Who's gonna take the leap?
Man, it's tough. It's tough to just give it to one of them, because all of those guys are really talented, especially Matt. That's at for them. And I just think that what it's really going to take is just for those guys just to really buckle down and just focus on actually playing ball, and not worry so much about the end result. Just stay in the moment, stay focus on the actual process. The guys that are able to do that the best are going to end up having the best outcome. So I don't know which one is going to be. We are going to have to, just tune in and see. But I hope those guys are listening and just remain focused, stay diligent, and don't forget about what got you to this point.
Definitely, man. I'll leave you on this. Where can my audience find you on social media? And the jersey behind you, what game was it from, man?
Oh, yeah. So first, guys, you guys can follow me on my Instagram page at Travis Daniels Photography. So that's my first and last name in photography. And you'll be able to see a lot of the cool images that I'm creating. Also, Facebook is the same thing, Travis Daniels Photography. If you want to look at my website, it will be travisdanielsphotography.com. So behind me is actually my rookie year jersey. Hold on, I'll give you a quick look at it. Let me see how I can turn this camera around. Yeah, so this is actually my rookie season, and this game was from 10/16/05. So I had it framed nice, with a nice photo and everything like that. And so this is one of the items that I wanted to put on display, because it meant a lot to me and my family to be able to wear that jersey. As a kid, my mom was a huge Dolphin fan. So what I would do is she had me like this little Fisher Price helmet and shoulder pads and all that. And it was Miami Dolphins. I used to wear it every day after like preschool and stuff,
Yeah,
so much so to the people in the neighborhood would be like, why you let that boy wear that every day, And then to be able to see it full circle, and I'm actually, a member of the Miami Dolphins and stuff, that was really cool for my mom and everybody in the community, that knew that story growing up. So yeah, man, I got like some other LSUs, and I got my national championship helmet, my Cleveland Brown helmet, all of the teams I played with, I kind of kept at least one or two things from them, and then gave everything else away.
Heck yeah, man. Well, Travis, Mr. Daniels, it's been a blessing to have you on our show. And this concludes our interview on Sports Talk and the Success Table.